The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first community podcast, episode 1. Today, featuring guests will be community managers. I'll begin by introducing myself. I'm Chief Faze, running the Los Angeles Police Department within the community. Along with us, we have Chief Glenn Allen from the Fire Department, who's currently waving to you all. We have Colonel Les from the San Andreas State Troopers, along with Civ Director Becky. We'll move on to the right here. Let Chief Ocean do the introduction here.
Oh, hi. I'm Chief Ocean. I've been with the community since its founding. Been fire chief for I don't even know how long now, and several other roles in the community, and been a civilian for a long time, enjoying that. And I think that's all I got from me. Everyone knows who I am anyway. So, Colonel Les.
Sure. Yeah. I'm Les, guys. I'm Colonel of the State Troopers. In the community, I joined very early on into the community. Was moving around different departments, but eventually settled down in the police department. Became chief there, and then we wanted to start the State Troopers back up. So I've been colonel for 5 or 6 months now, I believe.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So hi guys, I'm Beckford, but everyone calls me Becky. I'm the Civ Director. I joined here in December 2018, and then I became the Civ Director August 2019. I started off originally as dispatcher, was dispatch director, moved over, and now I'm here.
Perfect.
Phase.
Yeah, I've been here almost 3 years. Joined into the San Andreas State Troopers, became a sergeant there, then transferred over to PD, stayed there till now, I'm actually becoming chief about 3 months ago. So, Beckford, whenever you're ready, you can start up the question list. We'll do the Q&A and move on from there. And at the near end of the stream, we'll ask some questions from the audience here for us to answer.
All right. So all of our questions were submitted through like Instagram or Discord. So I have them all screenshotted. Sorry if they're all like kind of out of order. But okay. So start off with, someone asked, what state is SAF based off of for their car skins?
Wow. I don't know. I mean,
y'all based off anything?
No, we decided this time with the new skins to just be unique and have we talked to Duckman, and we said to him, like, look, we want something very unique that isn't seen anywhere else, in no other community, and especially not anywhere else IRL that we can think of. And he just went ham on it and made up some current awesome designs, and that's what we got now. So yeah, we're totally unique, my understanding.
State-wise, we are kind of a combination with some uniqueness in it as well. Accord made our skins. They are a Arizona, Montana, Nevada, Arkansas,
Wow.
Arkansas blend. So most of the skins that I've ever had for different departments have always usually been that way. And then I think since we obviously, I I think the SO is Williamson County, Texas, I believe. So, Bays, what y'all got?
For PDs, we also had McCord do ours. Once again, it's a mixture of multiple departments, but not really one. It's just unique. So it's just custom and unique. So no, it's not a real life department we follow either.
Hey Becky, what are your vehicles?
Right.
based off
Yeah.
of?
Our add-on cars are based off of real life cars, so I got that.
Man, nice BMW out there.
Thank you. So then someone asked, why do you have to be 15 to join?
Yes, Becky. Why do we have to be 15 to join?
I think that we have our age limit just for a set age of maturity and also for like the nature of our scenes. I'm just making sure everyone's an age, a moderate age where you can like handle some of the more serious scenes that we have, and yeah, and I think that's a pretty basis answer.
Yeah, actually, fun fact about that: when we founded SAF, we were debating actually having the age limit be 18, because we were just looking for I guess a level of maturity. It wasn't because we were going to have any like crazy scenes or anything like that, but just like we were just looking for that gap. But like the we had a lot of past members from past communities that we wanted to also join us, that we enjoyed role playing with, years and years ago before SAF was founded. And a lot of them were under the age of 18. So we're like, yeah, let's make it 15. That way they can join us. And a lot more people will have an opportunity to join the community, 15 and up. So,
And there's no exceptions to the age rule. I should add that.
yeah, sorry, guys.
Someone ask. Yeah, sorry.
There's a lot of mature, like 13 and 14-year-olds out there. But, we got to stick to our limits here.
Mm-hmm.
Someone asked, what cars do the state troopers use?
What cars do we use? Oh, we actually have a very small fleet. In terms, we have a 14 and 18 Charger, 16 Taurus, 16 FPIU. We're getting some new stuff here soon, but we're still working on that. 18 Tahoe. Other than that, I don't know. And then we have like a Silverado for Rangers, but we literally have like 6 cars. So all of them go slick top and unmarked, so we don't have to worry about that. We also have a Caprice, which my department loves that thing, but yes, we have a Caprice.
It's a very unique car. I'll give it that.
Yes.
True.
Didn't you guys have, or that was PD that had the Impala?
The SS.
The SS, yeah. That's actually a nice car.
Yeah. Same reason. Continue.
Oh, okay.
See?
I was like, we all cut each other off at the same time. Awesome. So someone asked, what is the funniest thing that each of us have ever role played?
Oh, God. I need a minute so you guys go first. It's a long list.
What about you, Becky? Let's start with you.
There's so
You're the
many
director,
scenes.
so.
There's so many funny scenes that have happened, and I think, okay, so this one's not personally like one that I was in, but was watching in a stream, and it was Price and Brandon who were like delivering pizzas, and I forget who pulled them over. I think it was Kroll, but one of them goes like, "Oh, don't tell him that there's a bomb in the car," and Kroll turns around and goes, "What?" And he's like, "No." No, he said bong. Like, there's a bong in the car. And Kroll turns around and goes, what? He goes, no, I didn't say bong. I said bomb. And then he goes, what? And, like, instantly gets worse. And he's like, no, bomb. Like, the name of, like, a pizza or something.
What?
Yep.
And I just found it funny because they tried to, like, cover it up. Made it even worse and worse. And, like,
Yep.
that was, like, one of, like, my funniest scenes.
That's amazing.
Okay. Les, you have any?
You go, FaZe. I'm gonna have to.
Well, for me, I would say mine goes a while back when I was in state as a trooper. And at a scene, I got hurt real badly, and there was a person named J. Rose at the time who played an invisible character, but his whole aspect was conscience. So he was my conscience on the scene. So when I started hearing his voice, I'm like, Lord, is that you? But he was just like, no, my son, like just messing around with me. It was, to me, that was one of the funniest scenes I ever witnessed.
I guess mine. I've done so many Civ things at this point, and witnessed so many Civ things. I guess if I had to pick one of my own, I think more recently, I think the one I had the most fun with was Nikolai with the bright headlights. Because Noli's response to that was the best, where he pulled somebody over that was doing 85 on the highway, and he said, "Sir, today's your lucky day. Get out of here. Slow down." Because coming up the highway for like 3/4 of a mile, all he saw were these bright lights coming down the road, and his response was, "God." And that was such a great just thing. It was so good.
I think there's two that I can think of kind of fit the bill. One of them was when we were having some server issues, and the rescue ended up going all the way into a ditch and hitting one of my troopers, hit Price,
Yeah.
and literally sent him like 100 yards. It just smoked him, and it went all the way into the ditch, and and I remember, I think it was King got on scene and was like, "Why is the rescue in the ditch?" We were all like, "Don't worry about it. Don't. It's okay." We're like, "Don't worry about it. We'll just drive it out." And then I think freaking the Bridget ride along was ridiculous. So that whole thing was bringing salamanders and cheese ball, all that. Yeah. Those two.
Oh,
were
and the
pretty funny.
chickens. And
Yes, the chickens. She brought chickens and thought they were gonna go on a ride along with me. So yeah, it's funny.
Interesting fact for you all watching. Les talking about how the rescue ended up in the ditch. If you go on our TikTok video and watch the first ever one, it's posted in there for you all to see.
Oh yeah, it is.
Oh, I've never seen that. I have to go watch that.
Yeah, it's if you guys want to see his point of view from what happened in game, you can see it.
What do you call it? Oh yeah, someone who came into the stream later also asked again which person is who and what department they're from in this room. So you might want to point out what your uniform is
yes.
and what department you are.
Well, I'm in, once again, the Los Santos Police Department, wearing my formal attire here.
In black.
In black, gold. That's our vehicle livery and our uniform we follow. To my left is the civilian Director Beckford, wearing her formal attire, dressed. We have a white top, a gray bottom. Hopefully I got that right.
Yeah.
Then to my right over here, leaning against the cabinet here, is Chief Ocean, wearing his long sleeve uniform, I believe, for fire and EMS.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the big chair, we have Colonel Les wearing his long sleeve as well. The blue and black, matching his charger out there.
Dope. Alright. So someone asked, will the SO ever change their vehicle fleet out for a new one?
Well, we can't say much about their
Will
fleet,
they?
but they are getting a new fleet here soon, so you guys can have a look out for that. But when the time comes, I'm pretty sure we will display it on our social medias, how the new fleets look.
100%.
Yeah, we've got members of our dev team are working diligently on getting that out and working on getting new stuff for all of our departments. Obviously with fire and some of their new apparatuses, stuff like that. So we do have devs diligently working on it, and once it comes out, y'all will know.
And if anyone wants a closer look at the uniform, here you go.
There you go.
Oh my god.
That's the back.
We'll do a whole fashion show
This
if
is,
you need
this is
to.
the other side. And then here's the shirt, obviously.
Mhm.
And then if you just look at my shoes right here, it's very very nice boots right here.
So everything
Anyway,
at
sorry.
this moment-
Delayed reaction, but I had to find the emotes.
What else? Oh, okay. Next question asks, what is the whole process of getting in and doing departmental training like?
Selling your firstborn. Wait, what?
again for PD is you go onto our website, hit the apply button top right, put in an application once open. So look out for our Twitter or Instagram for when we do open application that will be posted there. After the application process, within 72 hours to max 2 weeks, you will get an indication of either acceptance or denial. Once accepted, you'll get an email, go through the interview process, and then for department training wise, for me specifically, is once you get in, the FTOs will get in touch with you and set up the departmental training and go on from there. Chief Ocean?
Yeah, so first step is obviously
Selling your firstborn.
no, I'm just kidding. So similar to what FaZe said, you go on our website, and when the fire applications are open, you can apply there. We then review your application, and if it's a good application and it has a lot filled out, a lot of information, we then will accept that application into our interview Discord, at which point you are interviewed. And if you pass your interview as well, then you're brought into SAF and you go through our fire department training, which is, it's not bad at all. It is a little lengthy, but not too bad. It's definitely worth it. And then from there, you're onto your probationary phase, and you move up from there.
Well, Les
And
doesn't
if-
really have training.
And if you don't have a firstborn, store bought is fine. Sorry, go ahead.
Store bought as fuck.
Oh my god.
Les?
So for state, I get this question hundreds of times every week, but we have a pretty lengthy process of getting in. If you're not in the community right now and you were gunning for state, the way that would work was you would end up joining either the LSP or BCSO, and basically you have to be a standout, one of the best within that department, and then if you express interest, you would apply. So you'd go through, if you went into PD, you'd go through the process with phase, and then if you chose, down the line a few months in that you wanted to transfer to state, you'd put a transfer form in. We look at those forms for grammar, all that type of stuff, and then we do an interview. After the interview, we'll decide if once you're not, after that, we send you through a advanced training course in terms of traffic related instances and stuff like that. And so once we get past that course, we send everybody through a tactical training. So we do not have a actual TAC team, but all of our troopers are able to do that stuff. So it's about a 4 to 5 hour training process, even though you've already been trained. Just extra stuff that we have to do to make sure we're proficient. After that, you would come in at whatever rank we choose. It's usually based on what your previous rank was and different things like that coming into the department. But that's about how you get into state.
Right.
Yeah. For Civ, it's a similar process, although the training is obviously less detailed than for LEOs. So the application process is pretty much the same, and then you come in, have a classroom portion of the training, an in-game portion, and then you are a fully trained civilian one to start off with. So.
Yeah. For dispatch, it's the same process, application, interview. Then I can't speak on their training, but training as well.
Major answered it in chat.
Oh, there you go. So just add him any more questions on that, and same for SO. It's similar to PD process. All right.
Major said training's a classroom, 4 listen-ins, and 4 sessions, then a final exam.
Perfect.
So there you go. Someone asked, where does the number 5 originate from for the FD?
Ooh, okay, so that was originally what we decided, or it wasn't what we decided, but it was actually what we, when we got the original, or I should say the Fire Fleet 2.0, which is the previous fleet we had, they already had the number 5 on the original skins, and those were the default skins that came with the apparatus. So we decided at the time we just wanted to get the new fleet in. We didn't want to, waste any more time having skins made and stuff. So we just went with the skins that were there, and they all had 5s on them, or 59 for the one medic. and then Rescue 28 had 28 on it when that was eventually developed. So we actually just kind of ran with the 5s, and then in keeping with that, with the 3.0 fleet, which is the current new fleet, all of the apparatus that are numbered with 5 are the city units that stay. I shouldn't say stay in the city, but they're based out of the city and stationed in the city. And then we have new units now that are have 2s on them, like Engine 2, Rescue 2, Squad 2. Those are Blaine County units, and it kind of helps us identify like which units are in what county and why we have them there. But they can cross over county lines, but it's just basically helps us identify which station to run out of. So 2 runs out of Station 2, and then follow me here. 5 runs out of Station 7, but occasionally some of the other stations. So I know it makes sense in our head. So
Yeah, okay. And then someone asked, do we have Group 6 cars? That's...
No, we do not.
No, we don't.
it's pronounced differently, but that's fine. We don't need to say that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that, but yeah, no, we don't.
We used to, but
Not anymore. Someone asked, what made us choose to do community managers instead of having one singular director? That's a good question.
Ocean.
I was gonna say, can I answer that? So I guess a little inside information on this, and this is actually really good for anybody who is looking to form their own community, and really look at a good model for leadership, because a lot of communities fail because of bad leadership or issues, corruption, things like that. So there's a lot of models of communities out there where they have a director and a board of people underneath that commissioner. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just that it can lead to problems if it's mismanaged, or if the director themselves is not the best of leaders. And what ended up happening was SAF used to have a director position as well as what we called the board. And it worked out for a good amount of time. And then we grew as a community, and the model wasn't really working for us at that time. And it also just wasn't fair to have one person above the rest of the departments. And what we ended up doing was, at the time, I was the director of SAF, and I decided this isn't working. We had some imbalances where there were some departments that were not part of the board. Like I think it was civilian and dispatch were not members of the board, and it created an imbalance where the LEO and fire were above them and were making decisions for the community, and then civilian and dispatch were basically told what to do, and we didn't like that either. So we ended up dissolving the director position, and I went down to the same level as everybody else. We also raised up civilian and dispatch and created the community managers, which was basically the department head of each department, which then founded the community managers. So, here's, 4 of us right here that are each the head of a department. And we just put everyone on a level playing field and basically became a council, and it became very, a democracy where we all vote on things and whatnot. We discuss things before they are implemented. And it's a system that's been in place for about, I think, 2.5 years now with SAF, and it's been working great. So.
Ocean, who were the original founders of SAF along with you?
Stole my next question.
So it was myself, Duckman, Justin Womack, Caden, and Trooper Stark were the original founders.
And someone asked, how long have we been up for?
Is it 3 years now?
Yeah, it's 3, as of
just
June
over 3.
21st, 3 years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I know.
And a lot of us have been doing this since before that. I know. Actually, no, Les, you joined. You weren't in the previous communities that I was in. So actually, that never mind. That
It's my first one.
yeah, I know. Actually, I still gotta get those clips of when I found some streams and stuff for me that say like, oh, hey, Les, yeah, hey, I know you're new to the community, but hey, welcome to the stream. I gotta find all
I
that.
remember that. I remember when it happened too.
Yeah, that was like I think I was like, yeah, I was like doing a stream for like hitting like a certain amount of subs or something like that. I don't know.
You hit 10K. I remember the stream.
Yeah, yep. And that was right after the founding of SAF too. It was very close to that.
And someone also asked, what is the history behind the community's name?
Honestly, it's such a like, it's such a simple, I guess, history behind it. Like, we were really, a lot of us had left what had been a really like, we weren't fond of the community that we were in before founding SAF. We had decided to found SAF because of a lot of the mistakes that were made in the previous community, and we knew what to do and not to do with the community that we were founding. But honestly, like we were sitting there, we're like, what do we name this place? Because we don't have a name, and we sat there for maybe a good 2 hours brainstorming names, and then we would go and Google that idea to see if anyone else had already done it. And everything we came up with, we're like, oh, somebody already did that, and like some of them weren't even like related to 5M or GTA at all. But eventually we came up with like, I don't know, how about like San Andreas's finest, you know? And we looked it up and we're like, oh, no one's done that. Quick, let's scoop that name up real quick. And I think as a parody after that, shortly after when we founded the fire department, which didn't come right away in this community, when we founded the fire department, we had on all of our apparatus, and now it's on the new apparatus that we have now. But we, as a little parody to the name, we put San Andreas is bravest on there for the firefighters. So the law enforcement are the finest, and then we're the bravest.
Right, and this one's gonna take a lot of thought. Two different people asked what were the best roleplay scenes, like in our personal opinions.
That we did,
That's
that we were involved with, or
That I think either that we've seen, or that we were in, or that we did. So there's a lot of ways that question could go.
I mean, seeing as some of us kind of did ones that were based off of what we did personally, maybe we can pick something that somebody else did.
Yeah.
We're doing a like pick two here. Is that what we're doing?
Are we playing a card game now? Go fish.
Best roleplay scene. Oh my god.
I think one of them, I guess I'm technically involved with it, but it's one that's ongoing right now. It's the CC storyline that Rowan's doing, and the investigation that we did with the backstory with Sinclair's character was like unbelievable. It's like backtraced 20 years worth of history and went through all that, and it's been ongoing for like a month now. So probably one story building one that I can think of.
I'm still sitting here thinking. Well, since Ocean can't say his own, but I'm gonna say his storyline with Glenon's entire backstory. First of all, is super complex and well thought out. But the whole the whole situation with the psychos and how they were like literally haunting him and all the things that were thought out was just really, really well done. So that was like something that happened earlier on to me joining into SAF, and I was like, dude, this is dope. So I was like kind of watching it from a dispatch point of view at the time, but yeah, that was probably like one of my favorite storylines to see. I really do love the storyline roleplay here.
Like the convergence that you did, Ocean, I think.
Yeah. And the thing is, I need to get back to those two because like I want to develop more with Glenon's plot, and I also want to get back to Convergence. And literally, I was in the process of doing that, and I was gonna have a friend of mine who streams with me regularly here, IRL Cupcake. She's actually up to do voice acting in the next Convergence film, but then the freaking pandemic started, and now I can't have her over, so that's kind of paused. But I guess if I were to pick two, I mean, I was actually going to say the one that Becky said there because I was liking how much story was happening there, but honestly, and this might be a little morbid, but I remember back in the early days when I was a state trooper in this community, when Trooper Fox actually had a plot where his character was actually murdered because his vehicle was tampered with, and he went around a curve, couldn't brake, and went into a ravine, and subsequently passed away because of it. There was a moment where myself, Duckman, who was sheriff at the time, and Justin Womack, who I believe was the colonel at the time, or something, I can't remember who was what in state. But there was a moment where we all left the hospital after he had passed away and went back to the scene of the accident. And the three of us stood there on the top of the embankment looking down at his car in the water. And there was maybe about a good 2 or 3 minutes of just silence amongst us. And then we were all kind of just like discussing our feelings of what happened just there. It was a very emotional moment in SAF. And that led to the entire funeral with Fox as well. And then honestly, that was such an amazing scene. But then from there, my second pick would have to be McLaughlin's funeral. That was so well done, and I actually started crying when the helicopters flew over. That was my breaking point during that scene. And anything that draws out emotions in me like that during a role play scene is, in my eyes, a fantastic scene. So
I was thinking of another one. You remember when it was Duck and somebody was trying to kill Duck? We were running all over the place. You were off duty. You remember that? That was
dude.
That was an amazing scene. It literally lasted like 4. I remember we patrolled with like 14 people until like 11 o'clock at night. Y'all, that's hard to do. Okay, but we had like 14 people on, and it was till like 11 o'clock. That was an amazing scene.
That was so good, and it was so complex and so many moving parts, and actually having to we had the sheriff, Duck, dressed into plain clothes. We had people guarding him the whole time, and we went from top to bottom of that state dealing with that situation, and just so many things happened. And then my favorite part, because I know Price is in the chat, was when me and Caden were driving down the road in a civilian car to go back to the station to collect something. I forget what. And Price had crossed the double yellow, and to be honest, I also made my turn a little bit wide, and we had a head-on collision, and he got out of the car, and he had a gun in his hand, which was an accident, it turns out. And Kate and I were both just like, gun, gun, gun. We get out of the civilian car with our long rifles and start pointing at him. I'm like, put the gun on the ground. I'm going to turn you into Swiss cheese. And Price is just like, what the hell? That was such a great moment. He was so surprised, and we just ended up arresting him too. That was a great night. That was a really good night.
Phase.
Oh, I thought we could skip me over.
Tried it.
Well, for me, there's multitude of scenes. Some never even completed, but the start of the story was interesting and great for me. One, the idea behind having a cartel, drug trafficking, weapon trafficking. The scene in itself, especially when at the time I was investigating it too, it was complex. It covered every detail, and it's something you see in the daily life in real life, especially in California side area where drug trafficking and weapon trafficking is huge. Trying to figure out who's behind, trying to stop that is also intriguing for me. That was fun. And next is some of the Ocean's character, the two Russian brother and sister duo. Whenever they do a scenario, it's always long, interesting, gets me laughing, and gets the whole department involved in some sort of a mess. Last time I dealt with them, it was illegal dumping. Now, thank you, that law is in place. But that to me was a story of its own, and of course, the one and only Thaddeus Scott. Seeing that old man around is always a blast for me.
It's a blessing for you.
Well, at that time, you know, like I had to deal with it. Now I can just have an officer and I can just watch the show, you know.
You know, I will just say that that whole illegal dumping scene, the icing on the cake of that entire thing was the fact that we had nothing in the code of law about dumping. So technically, it was actually legal dumping. There was nothing you could do about that. But
Exactly.
I was still arrested because I lied to the police. So like my character was basically just famously had said like, wait a minute, hang on. If I had just been honest with you guys, I'd be off the hook right now. And you were like, yep. And I'm like, son of.
Yeah, honesty is key, you know. You live and learn.
And now that's in the code of law book. Illegal
Yep.
dumping is now illegal.
Went in a
Takes
few
one
days
person
after
to
I
do
did.
something to make something go into the code of law.
Oh, don't worry. I'll find some more I'll find some more missing laws that we can put in there. Become a challenge now.
It is a
God.
good challenge.
Alright, so someone asked 2 questions. So, how many people are in SAF? And then during a patrol, what's the maximum amount of people in each particular department that could be allowed on at one time?
Members in total, looking at our server members, it says 136. I think that includes bots, but we have like 2 bots.
130.
So average
Yeah.
130.
You're a bot.
What?
Sorry.
I had to give another rebuttal, but I can't not hear.
So we're 130 members. For PD, patrol wise, it's maximum 12, but it's up and downhill. It depends on a scenario scene, etc. But normal patrol days, the number is 12.
We want to say our maximum department caps as well in terms of how many people. We can
Yeah.
I think for
What is yours?
fire. Oh god, phrase, yeah.
put. It's 20 for Fizz.
Oh my god! You just didn't answer.
But yeah, it's. I guess if we'll just clear the LA out of the way, it's 20 PD. That's their max. SO's at 20 as well. I think SO's in-game cap right now is 10. I don't know
believe
for
so.
sure.
Something like that.
State is 15, but we're at 13, and I don't plan to fill those last 2. They're just kind of there's spots for people that were like, oh, we really want that person, you know. So those are just kind of reserved for the best of the best if they end up putting in applications and whatnot. So, but we have 6 in patrol at a time. That's our max.
Yeah, and for fire, our max in patrol per patrol is 14, and our overall department cap is for membership is 35.
Alright.
Civ doesn't have a patrol cap or a limit, so yeah, just did my thing. Let's see. Someone asked, is it hard to come up with scenes to do and act out?
Well, for me, generally, no. Once you hop in, you know, you're like, okay, let's go on for Civ, and as soon as you start doing something, you're like, your mind boggles and a bunch of scenarios come in. But the plan 1, it does take a while, you know, if you want to do something big, whole preparation for that, it's a long list of details to do, but overall, for me personally, no.
I apologize. What was the question again? I had something come up. I just had to take care of real quick.
The question was, is it hard to come up with scenes to do and act out?
Yeah, for me, being civilian and everything, like, yeah, it's at times I can run into a wall where I don't know what to do. I know, like, using things like menu definitely helps because I can just go in there and like look for props and be like, oh, I can do something with this, and then go with it. Actually, in fact, I found something recently that I'm gonna use tonight for my Civ scene that'll definitely give some interesting investigations tonight. Spoilers, but yeah, but like it's just the only way I can really think of doing scenes sometimes is to just get into pick a character and just get into their head and just think, what would they do on a night like tonight? Like, what would they just be getting into? And really get into like what that character is like, and then just kind of develop something from there. And that's typically what I do. And it also doesn't hurt to just sometimes jump in the server, drive around, and just see what's going on and get involved. You know, that's another thing to do.
Mhm. I'd say like storyline wise, sometimes I know what scenes exactly I want to do for a character storyline. So I'll plan those out ahead of time, and then there's other times where it's genuinely just natural RP of like, oh, I'm riding a bike around and someone just decides like right there that they're gonna rob me, and I'm like, okay, going with it now. So it really just depends on the day.
What about you,
Um,
Les?
Yeah.
What about me?
Yeah, what
Civilian cadet.
Yeah, right. Let's say the only civilian cadet here.
I know, right? But I just think for civs in general, I think that it gets to a point where sometimes they do get burnout just from the fact, especially when they're doing storyline type stuff, because
Mhm.
what happens in server, when you plan things out, I want people to understand this. When you plan things out, you usually plan your outcome, right? You don't plan your process. So if you plan the process that you're going to go and let the outcomes happen as they do, you don't run into different issues, such as play to win and different things like that. And so that sometimes happens. I think when you've done all this planning and then a scene doesn't go as planned, it's discouraging and whatnot. And so I do think that some people do get burnout over that type of stuff. But random scenes going around. I remember back when I was a civ, like 2 years ago, I had a character that I just went around randomly one night, and then we built a whole storyline with them because I just ran into one person and we built up, a business and whatnot, and ran it for a few months. So, yeah.
And honestly, if I can touch on that, like you said, play to win too, and it reminds me like a lot of things, especially in the early days of SAF when I used to do a little like of like coaching with the civilians back when I was either director or board member, whatever I was at the time. I always used to like explain like, don't play to win, play to lose, because a lot of the greatest of scenes and story can come out of your character losing. And honestly, just seeing a character succeed and then fall so far from that, success, it can make for an amazing, amazing story, and some of the best ones I think we've seen in SAF have been characters who have played to lose, or players who have played to lose.
Mhm. So I think this is a funnier question to ask. What is the worst crash that one of your characters, preferably your main character, has ever been in?
Oh.
Face.
We all have. We
Well,
all have one.
For me, it's one of the most famous one. It's I just said probationary trooper. State just got new fleets, new skins. My first day out by myself. I'm excited. So at the time we launched our state trooper briefing from Paleto Bay. So if I can picturize it for all of you, I was heading up down towards the Alice City and between the Braddock Tunnel, I believe is what it's called. I had to pass through that. So I'm going 70, cruising around, and I had one of my other friend who was a probationary at the time, Alexander, with me behind me. I'm riding. At the time, there was a glitch in the server where we had a tree mod, and one of these trees liked to, appear out of nowhere in the tunnel. So I'm cruising in the right lane, and everyone know this, and apparently it was told at the training. I must have never heard it, but for me, I did not know. So I'm cruising 70, 75. I hit the tunnel, and out of nowhere, this tree appears, and I go flying multiple times up, down, left, right, rolling around.
And a song got made about it.
And yes, there's a song on it as well. But for me, that was the worst crash I ever witnessed, and I had no idea what to do, so I just laid there. And Alexander comes up to me and he's like, "You all right? You good? He's like, fire was called.
Yeah.
Everyone called, but for me, that was it. Yeah,
I think I responded to that call.
Yeah, there's a buddy on it on
I,
Notion.
Yeah.
I had a wreck that happened. This was very old SAF. We were on a traffic stop, or there was a traffic collision involving a tanker and another vehicle, and we're all on the scene together as troopers. Well, an AI decided to full send it into the tanker and blew everybody up. And I was just sitting there like, well, that's wonderful. I was very salty. I saw the clip the other day. I was very salty on stream. It was funny. It was great though, but I think that's one of them. And I've been in a lot of crashes, but nothing too bad. That one is something. My car got blown up, so.
Ocean.
I think we all know which one we're going to talk about here. The the very well-known Firehawk crash. And I think I should clarify what happened, because I don't think people fully understood, because I didn't specify out of character what happened that day. A lot of people actually think I did that on purpose, but it's funny because actually, Becky, you were actually one of the civilians that was on that search and rescue call, and I nearly took your head off with the blade of the helicopter. So we had this really strange glitch at the time in our server, 5M being 5M, where helicopters for every department, we would be flying normally, and then for some reason the helicopters would just take over on their own and start flying in whichever way they wanted to, and we lost control of them. And there's one, I know, it was either, I think it was state, because it was the old state headquarters that was up on Highway 12 or 11, whatever that is, the really big government building.
15?
Yeah. The helicopter took off and immediately, like, I think shot to like the left, and then like immediately went down like onto the ground and blew up or something like that. I forget what it was. And then AirMed with two of our firefighters in it, it took off from one of the hospitals and just decided to keep flying straight up like a rocket ship. They couldn't go left, right, back, forth, down. They just kept going up into the stratosphere, and eventually, I think, I don't know what happened, but it eventually either the engine conked out. The engine just died because it got up to the maximum elevation that the game allows you to go, and the engine died, and they started going down, and they actually bailed out with parachutes and just, you know, left it and let it blow up. But yeah, mine, I still remember the panic I had when it happened, because I was there hovering, and suddenly the helicopter pitched forward at such a steep angle that there was just, I lost elevation right away, and I actually pulled back on the stick, which was not working while I was holding it, but then suddenly the helicopter gave me back control, and at that point the helicopter pitched backwards, the tail rotor hit the water, and then I was done. It went right into the water. So that, like, I felt so bad because it was this great civilian scene going on, and I'm like, great, now I'm calling attention to myself. Like, I'm just here to rescue. Now I am the scene. I didn't want this to happen. And I had to get rescued. And so I thought, looking back at the footage, I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. So when I went to edit it, I added some grinding noises and some like helicopter warning sounds, and just made it like I role played it out as a mechanical failure in the engine, and that it seized up and I went down. That's basically how I did it. But yeah, that was entirely a out of character like glitch in our server that was just making helicopters go crazy, and it ended up just happening that way. And I think, honestly, I think it enriched the scene. I just felt bad at the time. Oh, that's right. And then Campbell was there with AirMed on a beach nearby, and I actually cut it out of my video, but I think it's in the stream, that the archive for that, when she was there. But she went to take off, and the moment the wheels lifted off the ground, the helicopter just exploded out of nowhere. And we just decided to 22 it. We're like, okay, everyone, like, it was the first time ever on the radio in character, or I broke character and said, all right, everyone on scene, 22 that last, reset. We just like wanted a new helicopter and just went from there.
I think personally, I've only ever had one crash that like Kroll will not leave me alone about. But it was a pursuit after Myron. as he was Civ, and I was going like it was raining,
Oh,
and I was going like 113, which is completely my fault. And Myron is of course in a sports car, takes a hard right. So like I go to slow down and turn right, and the FPIU handling line's like, no, you're not gonna turn today. So I just spun out and like did a couple circles and then slammed the side of the car into like the center median barrier, and like my car was just totaled. I was like, that was it.
no sirens, by
That
the
was
way.
my worst. My only ammo. I had my sirens on.
No,
No, you
you
didn't.
did not.
Oh, you didn't.
But yeah, that's my story. So someone asked, who is our favorite characters that we play, like individually? So what is your own favorite character?
Me, myself, and I. I don't know.
Oh,
Face
this
is
is
a pretty
easy.
cool dude.
Was
The Colonel.
out of your Civ characters that you have played, I guess.
Clyde.
Clyde, yeah. figured.
For me,
Montgomery, not Montgomery.
probably Jimmy Neutron. He's a pretty cool dude.
Mine has to be Isabel Wilson Kroll.
That's the name.
It is a name.
So what's Mentor Stadius?
I'd have to say it's so hard because I have so many, and it has shifted over the years. Because at one point Megan was my favorite one to play, but honestly, right now I'm having a lot of fun with Nikolai Kulikov because he's just this lovable idiot who he is very intelligent and he does like know what's going on, but he's just absent-minded and also just like tries to like he doesn't try to get away with things. He just doesn't understand the culture of America, so he just kind of like goes with what he thinks is okay and it doesn't always work out, you know, like a good example with the headlights. It's like, yeah, you know, I just need headlights on the front of car. Yes, does not matter if it is bright. And then he's told, they're too bright, sir. You need to dim them down. Okay, so if I subtract one light, I now have only one light. That makes it dimmer. Yes, you know, like he interprets the laws in his own way and then tries to adapt to them, and it's usually wrong. So he's just a lot of fun to play.
And then this question says, what is your favorite or funniest character that you've run into or interacted with?
Well, there's multiples, but for me, it was I was Master Sergeant dealing with Thaddeus Cotton at the time, who did not know what an emergency lane at Pillbox Medical meant. And
I
then,
forgot about that.
the memory loss, and he also marked his car as stolen, but like his car got stolen but was handed back to him, but never cleared it up at the DMV, so it was or the PD, and still marked under stolen. So him trying to figure that out was a mess on his own. Then the issue with the pills, and then we had it was a long story, but yeah.
I've got 3. First one is dealing with Bridget. Second one is the Hoff brothers.
Oh my god, yes, yes.
And the third one, for some of you OGs, Jace Anderson.
Anderson.
God, that's so. It's a rock 3.
I'm like still thinking about my favorites.
Yeah, me too.
I think one of my favorites is Pierre's ex-GSK character. I completely forget his name right now.
Toby
But
Maguire.
Toby Maguire, one of the funniest like dudes. If you ever roll into his part of Grove Street or if he's at the PD, oh my gosh.
Singing music, Mission Row Lobby, yeah.
Yes.
Wow, I'm having a hard time with this actually. I know one of them is Ice has that one old man character.
Jimmy. Oh my god.
Jimmy, just because he gave Chief Glennon some water that I'm pretty sure had pesticides and herbicides and all kinds of chemicals in it, and he threw up on the spot. That's a fun character. And then, wow. Oh man, I'm trying to think of who else. Like the one question I'm drawing a blank on because there's just been so many civilian encounters that I've had that like, I love anything that Prescott does. He just always has some kind of strange thing happen during any given patrol.
Always does.
You know, that bush car that got chased around, that was pretty. I love that because like I just saw 3 LEO on the side of the road with their lights on in a formation of a traffic stop, and there's nothing in front of them. I'm like, what is going on over here? And then find out it was a bush that was in front of them later. Oh man. Yeah, I think it's kind of just a broad stroke at that point because I've had so many encounters and also like group encounters and stuff too that it's just like it's hard to pick any one civilian, you know.
Right.
I think I got to go with that.
And then that's it for my screenshotted questions that were previously submitted, so we can take questions from chat.
All right.
Please not all at once. And like read out ones that I see.
So Chad, if you have any question, now's the time to put them up.
They said put on slow mode. Phase, that be you. Okay, why is military RP not allowed? I saw the question a ton earlier.
Oh,
when I talked
yeah.
about Group 6. It's not allowed just because, at least here in SAF, there's not a lot of, I guess, personally, I don't think that there's a lot of scenes that you could do with it. It's one of the things where, like, we have our LEOs for a reason, and I think that military RP would take away from that. And it's just not something that's really necessary.
Yeah, I think you know, because I've thought about it a lot too, and I know I've answered that question to a couple people as well. But like, you know, you'd have basically everyone kind of just on Fort Zancudo, you know, not really leaving the base because they have no reason to. There's nothing going on in the state that would require a military presence. And so you'd have everyone just kind of there, and that takes away from civilians, you know, doing scenes and stuff, and would give the other departments less things to respond to and whatnot. And also, honestly, I mean, it doesn't serve any real purpose to the community because our model for this community, it just doesn't fit. Like, there's nothing for anyone doing military RP to actually do, because everything else is covered, and it's all based on our like civilian. I shouldn't say civilian, but our state, municipality, and civilian operations. There's no real need for military, and honestly, I know that there's MilSim or military simulation 5M servers out there that if people are really looking for that, they can definitely find those out there. You know, or zombie apocalypse ones, you know, have a big military presence, but yeah, here it just doesn't fit our community model really.
As well as, you know, we don't want people RPing that in a wrong manner and disrespecting the people who have actually, you know, done this and served for our country. And it's disrespectful to put something out there, in our opinion, that would, you know, not be shed in the best light as well. So
Yeah, that's another point. Yeah.
Someone asked, why do we only allow members in 2 departments and not 3? It would be great for people to be able to do Fire, LEO, and Civ for a lot of scenes to record.
Most of it has to do with time commitment. Being part of one department is hard as it is. Being part of multiple is an issue on its own. Keep in mind, you know, when you join the department, there's commitment you gotta make to it. So we feel it's fair to only do 2, as that's a fair way to judge time on both sides.
I think another part of that question as well is when it comes to department caps, if we have 20 PD and we have, you know, people in 3 departments now, they can only run those departments at any given time. And so when they're running Civ, they're not running Fire and LEO, right? And that's a spot that's taken up in, you know, in the LEO and the Fire departments. Those are hard departments to get into in the first place, and we don't want people being in fire and civ and LEO and taking up all these different spots when we could have people who are going to be more dedicated to one or two departments.
Yeah, exactly. And just especially on the commitment part, like I mean, sometimes people might not have either the time to do it, or they might not have the energy to just commit themselves to that many departments and patrols. It's just there's weeks where I'll do a couple of fire patrols and then my civilian patrol. Or there's times where like I'm like, man, I don't have really a lot of energy this week because of work and stuff. I'm just gonna do my fire and civ one night and then fire another night, and just because I just consolidating what energy I have left after a long week. And I know some people don't have that problem and they can commit a lot, but I think in the end, just like you guys are saying, like we do want a bigger commitment to the two departments that you might be in as primary and secondary. That way, you enrich that department with your presence as opposed to trying to enrich the community through spreading out further. It's like putting like not enough butter on too much toast, I guess.
Someone asked, why are there no more EMS lieutenants?
So at the time when we had that role, we were looking for supervisors for EMS because we were struggling to get EMS developed in the fire department to where it was more realistic and was more fleshed out and had more going on with it. But as we actually immediately grew that, we didn't really see a need for having EMS supervisors anymore, and we combined that role into our fire lieutenant position. And now the fire lieutenants actually oversee, just like the captains and the chiefs, we all oversee both the EMS side and fire side, and have really, incorporated the two into the same what's the word? Supervision. So it was cool at the time, and we're actually, without giving too much away, we're actually looking at doing something similar to EMS lieutenant again, but it's going to be a lot different, but still like enrich. It's actually going to enrich the EMS side of things a lot more with what we're planning on doing. So that'll be a like soon to come thing.
Someone asked, how can you get accepted to SAF? Phase, you want to answer that?
Well, to get accepted, if you go description, go onto our website. Top right, there should be an apply button. Take you to our application website and fill out an application when department is open, and the process will be explained to you from there.
I think, the most important thing in an application or anything is just be yourself and be authentic. Don't hype yourself up as somebody that you are not. As long as you're yourself, you're authentic, and, you have some character, you'll probably be fine.
Someone asked, what are our favorite vehicles in our own fleets?
Easily the Suburban out there.
AKA the mom missile.
Turn the camera over to show off our cars in the window.
Yeah.
I think we've actually all selected those vehicles because I know for a fact, Bless, you run that Charger quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
When I see that
Mine's
thing on the
definitely
highway,
the
I'm like, that's
Chargers.
Bless.
Yep.
I guess for me, I don't know. With the new fleet, I'm still exploring them all, and I don't know which one's my favorite right now. I think I'm leaning towards the 2020 Tahoe with the EMS skin on it, but oh man, we have a new F-150 as well that I've yet to actually use, and I'm kind of liking that one. So I think that might end up being it.
Mine's
Yeah.
definitely both our Chargers. I think when we get our updated 18, I believe that might end up becoming my favorite. So, because I've seen some work in progress, and whoo.
Someone
The
in chat
M5 is a
asked.
personal favorite civ car for me, so.
Don't get me started on BMW drivers.
Be quiet, it's beautiful.
At least it's not an Audi.
She guys, someone in chat asks, what's the story behind Phase being 42 from Patrol?
Do you want to out yourself like that?
Great.
Wasn't he already outed during the freaking game that happened with that?
Well, if you truly want to know, I was patrolling as my state trooper, you know, driving around, speed were 106, past a sergeant or a lieutenant, past someone, but I wasn't going to a call, no lights or siren, I was just speeding. So, that's what happened. Don't speed.
Someone asked what happened to the coroner subdivision.
So, we ended up having that incorporated into the fire department for a while. It eventually, when I had gone primary civilian for a while, we had actually brought it over to the civilian department. And at that point, I was trying to develop it, but the problem was that ultimately kind of ended the idea. I mean, it's still open to anyone in civilian to actually take it up, and I do have a document I can actually send off to anyone. Actually, I'll send it to you, Becky. That way you can have it for anyone that wants it. It's not done, but it's actually a really good start. The thing I was running into with it when leading it was it required civilians who were essentially killing off their characters and having this investigation happen. It was requiring them to stay on for almost 2 hours with their character just dead, and them basically being treated like a corpse, being, investigated on the scene and then, thrown in the back of a van. I mean, much kinder than that, but you get the idea. And brought back to the coroner's office, and then, basically sit there and role play out in the chat an autopsy, and lab work and everything. And some civilians really enjoyed it and stuff, and it was a lot of fun. But it's like a 2-hour process to just do this investigation, and they're just sitting on a slab the whole time, just doing text RP, and because they're dead. So, there wasn't much of an interest, I think, and I also just felt bad, like just having civilians take up that much of their own time to just sit there and do that for not really much, because once it was over, it was over. A death certificate is made, and that's the end. It's great closure for a character if they wanted to go that route. Even more so if it was a long-term character and they could have some kind of like closure to it. But in the end, it was just such a long process, and I don't think it was just really affordable for everyone's time, I guess.
Someone asked, why did State get shut down before?
Well, this is loaded, but basically, we ended up, at the time, we had too many people, I think, as a community and as a whole on 32 slot servers. We had 2 servers, but nobody ever used server 2. And the basic idea was we were having a lot of issues with jurisdiction and different things like that. And the idea was brought up to remove, a department. And at the time, SO and PD had community managers. I was running state as a colonel. I was not a CM yet, though. I was in like a preparatory phase to be moved up into that position. And so obviously, if you're going to take one department, take the one that you're not, isn't a CM. And so we cut state out back then. At the time, it sucked to have it happen, because you got all these people who've been state for forever and whatnot. But it was done for good reason. And so we ended up we ended up, going to PD and SO, and then, with that, it turned out fine in the end. We're back, so I'm happy.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's a lot of questions coming in, I'm sorry. Someone asked, why is our AOP statewide, and then also what does our EUP look like?
It's statewide because we have a department to fill statewide.
Yeah, I think just because we have every jurisdiction covered every night.
State
And
patrol,
then-
sheriff. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I actually did say it in the chat too. Sorry, I was
Oh,
trying to
sorry.
respond. No, it's cool. I was trying to respond to some while we were doing this. That way we can cover a lot of them. But yeah, also because like I said in chat there, like we, I think we average around like 50 people per night in a patrol, if not more. And if we had an area of patrol like just Blaine County or just the city, I mean, that's a lot of people squished into one county, and
Right.
it's not a big map as it is. So you know, it's better just to have it spread out. And honestly, even when you are spread out, you see each other around, no matter where you are. Like you can go anywhere in the state, and you'll run into another person.
Right.
So with that many people, it's just good to be spread out.
Someone asked, what's the Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was just gonna say I do remember the days when we did have areas of patrol, and when we used to just have like, all right, we're doing Sandy tonight, and then you just see like 14, 15 people in Sandy Shores, and that was crowded.
Someone asked, what's the reasoning behind the rule of not being able to hold rank in other communities?
Well, it has to do with the commitment thing, in my opinion. Me personally, if you're let's say a sergeant above in PD, commitment-wise, that's a lot of tasks and responsibility. Now, you focusing that same energy over there, it starts to deprive in one area, either here or there. So to make it fair, we have that rule set up. Less.
Yeah, I think it's the same way, especially with how, anytime we open applications, we say this all the time. We're like, we're gonna have to close them in a few hours, right? Because we have an influx of 40 applications sometimes within 24 hours for a single department. And the reason why we have it where you can't hold staff positions is if you hold a staff position somewhere else, you're going to be dedicated more over there than you are here. And it's not fair to people who want to join this community and they want to put their sole focus on this community to be able to hold one of the spots, because it's fairly exclusive here. It's not easy to get accepted and to get into this community. It comes down to a lot of luck and a lot of timing. And so that's my reasoning, at least, behind it, is you need to be dedicated here and not elsewhere, and not take up a spot for somebody who would be dedicated here.
Let's see. Trying to pick community-related questions. There's so many. Les, how many ranks are in the state police department?
Trooper first class, sergeant, lieutenant, major, lieutenant, colonel, 8.
Dang. Can you only be... What? Oh, can you have... Someone's asking, can you only be in one department? No, you can be in 2 departments. You can have a secondary. Will there ever be SAF merch?
Oh, something in the future, maybe.
Yeah, maybe in future.
Let's see. I'm waiting for like more questions to come in. What is a scene where you could actually feel the emotions? Oh, there's been so many.
Suicide by Cops is one of the scenes that gets everyone, for sure.
100%.
Yeah, I guess any of the ones that really have a lot of like backstory put into them, like especially if it's a character that you've run into a couple times and kind of know a little more personally, and then something happens to them. And I try to do some emotional things with my characters when I can, and I know some of the Megan Primrose stuff I've done has been I've been trying to be emotional with those, and push emotions on people. And I think Megan being reunited with like Stockman at one point, with their past history and her breaking down and crying, that actually kind of brought me to tears IRL while I was role playing that, because it was an unexpected moment that night that it happened. And but yeah, and then just going back to Trooper Fox's death, that was another one. So that was an unexpected emotional moment for us.
Would we ever do a statewide scene like an earthquake or tornado?
Well, we do community, game nights, fun nights where we do PUBG or Warzone on the server. So maybe in future, not as a serious patrol, but maybe we can do a scenario like that. That'd be unique.
Yeah, I think we've discussed it before, and the idea of doing something like that, like, having a tornado come through, and that would be something that would be more so. It would take a ton of planning. We'd say, hey, we got to make sure we're gonna have the emergency services for that night. And so I think it would be something that would be awesome, to do one night and just RP out. And when we have nights that have thunderstorms, RP out a real bad one that brings a tornado through or something. And have civs set up tons of scenes and have fire running around, chickens with their head cut off trying to get to everybody. So
Like we don't do it already.
yeah.
Why do you think we have 4 ambulances now?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a possibility, but it's the thing that y'all might not understand about it is extremely hard to put together. Those big events.
And we actually did a UFO. Oh, sorry. Wow. Okay. I didn't mean to say that. That we did do that too, but that's not what I was gonna say. I meant we did a tornado scene a while back where we had a tornado come through, and it was all like text chat, and it was literally you could follow because it was dark, it was stormy. Sounds like a Stephen King novel, and we had text chat just going off in weather alerts of a tornado, and people were told to seek shelter. And it was actually kind of cool. Like, our engine actually went and took shelter in the recycling center up in Sandy and just like parked in there. We're like, all right, we're going to sit here. And, and then civilians actually did a really great job of like developing scenes that when the tornado was gone, like they actually were like, 911, my car is inside of a building or whatever. Or I think it was when a car was in the middle of the lake. We had to go get them because it got thrown over there. So it was some really cool after effects to like kind of a spontaneous thing that was done that night. Yeah, I'd love to see things like that again.
Everyone's saying for when Vandal left Oscar when there was a whole storm happening.
You know what's funny about that? Just something I didn't know for a while, and I don't think anyone else knows. Vandal wasn't actually the one who left Oscar behind. That was my mistake later. I was like, yeah, Vandal left Oscar behind. It wasn't even Vandal. It was, I forget who it was now. Somebody else left Oscar behind, and I totally forgot and like went with the wrong person, and then it just became like pop culture and SAF that Vandal left the dog behind during a freaking tornado. Poor Vandal.
Why do we not have admins in SAF? Our community managers, I would say, are administrators in a way.
Yeah.
And our command staff as well. So.
And also, Elvito, we actually did answer that for you in the chat like 4 or 5 times now. And please, careful with the caps as well.
Waiting for more questions to come in while chat is like full speed going down.
There you go, Les.
Could we do a scene where the cat is down? Probably not.
Yeah, that'd be difficult.
Dispatch would be struggling.
Bad
You know,
What is
job.
everyone's favorite? Oh, sorry.
It just reminds me of I've had family members who have dispatched for my local police department, and when it's called not NICAP, something I forget what it was called, but the system for law enforcement to look up records and stuff that used to go down so much like 10 years ago, and they'd be like, well, we can't look up this person, so I guess you're free to go. It's so like, yeah, that would kind of be a cool dynamic, but probably not.
I think somebody asked about if we would make it more like make SAF more like IRL. I think that question, we try to make SAF as realistic as possible to the extent that the game allows us.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got to think we're dealing with 5M, we're dealing with, server, some nights just doesn't want to act right, and so we have to mold our role play around what the game allows us, right? So something you don't see that you see IRL all the time is, as LAO, we don't get hands-on with anybody, right? Because it's not possible with the game and how that syncs and stuff. And so, for instance, our LAO, escalation of force is a lot greater than it is IRL due to that. And so there's multiple things that are like that when it comes to RPing, that we have to do, and we want to give way for scenes that may not be the most realistic, as long as we can keep them fairly realistic and allow those for funny moments and stuff like that too.
Yes. Who has been in server the longest? Say, well, Ocean founded it. So-
Well, let me tell you, kids.
It's weird how it works.
Honestly,
You've been here the longest. But
yeah. I mean, I also have to say Prescott. He was one of our first 2 civilians in SAF. Him and Forder, and yeah, he's been here a very long time. Yeah, Bryce, yourself, Les. I forget when you joined SAF. Like after we founded it, I think it was fairly close to the founding.
Yeah, we found it. Me and Price went back through our DMs to see the first time we DM'd each other, and it was like the 25th, and that was like 4 days after its founding, I think. It's the first time I DM'd him, and so crazy.
Well, in this room, Ocean last, me, Becky is the way to go. Becky is the youngest, right?
what, like, earliest to join? I mean, latest to join?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've only been here since December 2018.
Good
Well,
old
not
years.
Only.
Only, right? Like a whole year and a half. Trying to see what questions I have to answer in voice and not in text.
Oh, can I add on to one of the questions that we actually just got asked?
Yeah, go for it.
There was one regarding, like if we would ever make SAF more like IRL, and I think one way I was going to interpret that was, I know we get a lot of people asking. I know I get a lot of comments about it. Is if we will, or why we are not role playing out like COVID-19 coronavirus stuff. And I guess one of the things we kind of came to an agreement with here was like, it's there's so many people actually being affected by that right now, and people passing away from it. That's one reason, and the other being that we see this community as a place we can come to get away from IRL. Like this is basically our escapism for both, those of us who role play here, and then those of us out there like you guys who watch us. We kind of want to all, I think, as a collective, have that distraction from the things that are going on right now IRL, and that's why we've kind of decided to just not have that role play here, because it's just not a necessity, and it's also just there's already enough of that going on in our heads right now that we don't need to bring it here too.
Totally agree.
Ooh, Jack popped into chat.
Hey, Duck.
I guess a question that we could all answer. I don't think we've answered it. Basically, what our favorite thing is about the community, or something like that.
Oh, that's a great question.
Sure. You first.
Okay, I'll go first. I would say probably my favorite thing about the community. Probably the 2 things that I think are my favorite has to be the people you meet. I've met people in here that I've known now for 3 years, and I consider them good friends, and I confide in them, and personal stuff, and it's amazing the people that you end up meeting, and how much that they can affect you in your life. I think the other thing is the resiliency of the community when stuff unexpected happens. I think that there's been times where this community was thrown into the deep end, and it was either sink or swim. And to see how the community came together when that happened, and how we all brought together funds and different things like that to keep this thing alive. I think that's one of the best parts of the community. It's always resilient, and it's a family, and we truly mean that.
Yeah, for me the same. It's many other communities out there, is packing on members, growing immensely, but with the limitation here, you truly meet the people as friends. You get to know everyone after a while, so it's just a bondage. That's my favorite part here. It's, we're not distanced at all.
Only by the power of the internet.
Sadly.
Yeah, I think it's just the family aspect that comes into it, and everyone just coming here as a for a common goal, and just everyone really just loves going out there and role playing with each other as other characters, or as aspects of themselves, and interacting. And then there's a lot of people who play off camera other games and get together nightly to play things, and I think that's really cool. And honestly, knowing that this community is responsible for a lot of those friendships is, kind of brings a tear to my eye, because it's like, a lot of these people never would have met had it not been for this community. And it's just really nice to see that people are reaching out and finding friends this way. And I think that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool how through a video game you meet so many like amazing people, and sometimes like even though you've never met in person, which like some people have, and we also like try to plan like a real life meetup that hopefully will happen sometime. It's pretty cool that you get so close to these people over the internet that like they're almost sometimes closer to you than like people that you've met in person that you've known for a long time. And yeah. A lot of the questions now are just kind of repeat questions. Trying to think if there's any like simple questions that we haven't answered.
How about, why is everyone tagging Becky?
Yeah, I think it's because I'm really active in chat. So everyone's just tagging me.
Someone asked, why did you choose state police instead of highway patrol? Really, we just went with what we thought sounded cooler. So
Yeah.
state troopers. Like, that's literally what it is. I was like, that sounds cooler to me, so state troopers.
Yeah, state troopers. I like state patrol. I think that sounds really like, really cool. Because highway patrol, it just makes it sound like you guys are only on the highway and you don't really get around elsewhere. Which is a misconception of like California Highway Patrol. Like, you'll see them in a lot of side roads and stuff too, because they technically are a state police, but they just don't call themselves that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think state patrol, state police actually sounds pretty cool.
People said, why do some people's call signs change when they're promoted and others don't?
I think that's dependent on the department. I believe SO has a call sign thing that they do where it's like 08, 09 and sergeants, and then it goes up to 200. Then I think Ocean, y'all have car numbers for y'all's COC, right?
Yeah, and the firefighters pick their numbers similar to how LEO do.
Yeah.
Or when they join, that is.
For me and state, I believe it's the number you pick with from you join till the end.
Yeah.
stays with you.
How many vehicles does each department have?
Currently for PD, right now I believe is 11. It's not counting, it's just counting the fleet, but not the heli and subdivision extra vehicles, but normal fleet 11.
I think with fire, I know, the vehicle cap is at 16. I think we're sitting at 14. I know we've made like a lot of changes when this new pack was going in, but I'm fairly certain we're sitting at 14, which gives us some wiggle room if we ever expand further. But we actually do have more apparatus than we did before, like having 2 rescues and 2 engines, which is a first for us. So I mean that's really just helped us so much respond to calls. So
What about y'all, Becky?
Oh,
How many vehicles do y'all have?
There's like 60 add-on vehicles on top of the base GTA ones.
Nice.
Someone asked a good question of why
we
did
have-
we choose? Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay.
No, go ahead.
State
Go ahead.
has-
Forget about state.
State has 6 vehicles. So we're getting 3 new ones here soon, so stay tuned.
So why did we choose number call signs instead of like numbers and letters? So instead of like 3 Charlie 14, why did we just go with like, 314?
or 1 Ocean 10, which is literally what my name is. Funny story is that the last community I was in, that was what we did with LEO, was we all had a number thing, and I was 1 Ocean 10 as my call sign. It got confusing though, so that's when we came to SAF. We're just like, let's just go with 3 numbers.
Just more simple. Quicker
Yeah.
on the radio as well, so.
It's preference.
What do you all love about your own department? And if you could for a single day, which other CM would you switch with to run their department?
Wait, ask that part again?
That's great.
So if you could switch with a CM, who would you switch with? And then what do you love about your own department?
What I love is the fleet and the suburban out there. But if I have to switch, Les, give me that hat.
You need that hat for a day? I guess my favorite thing about my department is talking about, texture stuff. I love our uniform, as well as the people that are in it. It's a small group, very tight knit. But if I had to switch with the CM for a day, I would probably do FaZe, because I still miss some of those guys over in PD, and Red and Blues are very sexy. So
Aww.
You go, Becky.
Oh, okay. My favorite thing about Civs is creativity. By far, some of the most creative people that I've met, and really, really hardworking with their storylines for their characters. So super respectable. And if I could switch roles with anyone, probably Ocean, because I just want to see what fire's like for a day. Honestly.
Actually, have you ever done a ride along with us? 'Cause if you haven't, you should.
No, I haven't.
Oh, there you go. See, that'd be fun. I guess I love the family aspect of my department, and the fact that if we're not busy at calls and we're just hanging out at the firehouse, or even just partnered up in a apparatus, we have a lot of fun just horsing around and getting to know each other and having some amazing conversations that we do at the station. And I just love the people out that are in it. And I guess if I pick the second thing about it, it would definitely be our new apparatus, because they're so good looking. But honestly, if I had to pick a CM to switch with, I would honestly say with you, Les, because I used to be a state trooper back before we even had a code of law in this community. And I would be really fascinated to really step into those shoes again and just, be a state trooper again and just do some LEO, because I haven't done LEO in a long time, and it'd be really cool to get back into that.
yeah. Nobody's switching with Becky.
I mean, if y'all want to look after like 70 people and just kind
No,
of
you got it.
let people be
That's what you do.
creative, that's what it is.
Nobody wants to be Civ mom.
Yeah,
Pretty
sound like a
much,
teacher when
yeah.
you talked about creativity. No, I like the
Yeah, she-
people.
Yeah, she's
I'm
dressed
so
like one too.
serious. I'm being genuine. What do you call it? Someone said, "Well, no one wants dispatch to join the." No, I would go back to dispatch in an instant too. I'm sorry. No. I really would be dispatch director for a day again. I miss it.
Yeah.
Um,
Dispatching is
Okay.
fun, I had to say.
It-
I know
it
we
is
haven't
fun.
talked a lot about it, but it is fun.
we should have a patrol where CMs switch departments. Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Someone also asked, like, how did we all get into the positions that we're in now? I don't.
Hmm?
I feel like that would be such a, like, a 1 hour sit down story time.
Yeah.
Right time.
I think someone asked what our first patrols were like. Our very first ones that we were in.
Upside down.
That's a bad
I want to hear
laugh.
these stories. I actually do want to hear these stories. Enlighten me.
I guess I'll go first.
Sure.
My first one was my first official patrol. I was in a mock patrol as a sheriff's deputy, in fact. But all that happened, and then I ended up in state. And my first patrol ever, I was on a ride along. I was still in the ride along phase, had been trained. I was with Womack on the ride along, and on my first ride along ever, Miss Primrose III ended up going past our scene in the back of a FPIU with the infamous 117 at the time, and said, "And F all you cops, you pieces of shit," and was kindly told to shut the F up. And they just drove past us, and everybody on the scene just completely lost it. It was the funniest thing ever. It's literally like the first video on my YouTube. It's in the intro. It's the funniest thing ever. But that was my first patrol. It was awesome though. We did a lot of stuff. There was probably like 15 people on the server, which is kind of mind-boggling to think back to those times. Like, oh, you know, when we had like, we were so happy we had more than 10 on. It's crazy. Crazy.
We broke
crazy.
20!
Yeah, I remember those days. We had a 24 slide, and then we upgraded to a 32. Man.
And the day we
Good
had a
old time.
full server, the first time we ever had a full 32 slot server, people freaked out. and then we got the first person saying, "I can't get into the server because it's full."
That was my first patrol. It was awesome.
If I can lead into that, that was actually my first patrol as well, because we had founded SAF. We had put in place the the patrol requirements for every week that people have to have. But we, as the board at the time, we were so busy still building the community, going through like making documents, all this stuff, that we were like, all right, look, let's loosen it up for the people who are actually working on a lot of these things. So I didn't patrol for I think the first 2 weeks that SAF was founded. I also just needed a break after some of the past communities and stuff. But we were working really hard on founding the community, and then I had actually gone on vacation out of town.
I had
And when
to,
and when I came back, that was my first patrol with Megan Primrose. And I forget what SAF like episode number that is, but it was when Megan was still like using her daddy's credit cards and was like rich still. And I remember she was a lot happened that patrol with her, and then it got to the point where like her and Trooper Stark were just like going back and forth, and he just like laid into on her like a drill sergeant the whole time, and it got her so riled up that by the time she saw any other cop on the side of the road like that situation, she just went off on them and then got told to shut the hell up. Yeah, that was my first too. I didn't know we had our first patrols were the same one. That's pretty cool.
Well, for me, it's nothing like that. Because when I joined, it was you have to do ride-alongs before you're fully allowed to go on your own. And for me, my first ride-along was is as a trooper is went down as, let's say we were riding down Interstate 15 going 80 miles per hour and my FTO accidentally pressed the F key and started flying down the road. I'm just sitting there watching him and yeah, it's funny, it's like start a patrol, he's like, you just follow my lead, you know, I'm gonna show you everything. So when he finally came back and got back in the vehicle, so I'm like, so do I have to do that too for part of my training? He's like, shut the F up. Let's go. Don't ever tell anyone that.
That's amazing.
Um,
I remember training phase. Lol.
Ooh,
Uh,
my
that-
first patrol wasn't even in game, so I don't. I literally can't relate to anyone's stories.
Yeah, how's your first dispatching?
I literally sat there at my computer and my heart was pumping, and then I called 10-8, stuttered a little bit, and that was that. Oh, and then someone in a stream was like, "Who's that little boy dispatching?" And the person's stream was like, "Yeah, no, that's a woman." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, great start, guys." So
Anybody want a coffee?
That was
Oh my God.
good what you're doing.
I'm making coffee. I mean, you got a coffee machine in your office. I'm damn well gonna use it.
Oh,
oh
yeah.
my God, he's actually pouring. Oh my
It
God.
takes quarters.
I'm literally using the
The top,
ATM
please.
emote for this because there's nothing else that works with this.
It's amazing.
Okay, this is a good one. A good like closing questions is, what are our plans for the future of SAF?
I think, at least my perspective, my goals and plans with SAF is obviously with our server and 64 slot. I think that, you know, more recently, especially dev wise, we've picked up our game. We're looking to go fully custom with our fleets and finally get, you know, some custom stuff that's more exclusive to SAF. I think community wide, I think that we're looking at our numbers and we're gonna see where we end up at in terms of how many people we, you know, need in server. Will we start losing, you know, members in terms of activity once school starts up? Will we need to ramp up recruitment? We take a look at the numbers on that and we just kind of play it by ear. And then if we start losing, you know, activity because of school and stuff starting back up and everything, then we'll probably, you know, boost our recruitment. But right now we're just kind of at a stagnant phase because of what is going on. But you know, we will continue to reevaluate the situation and end up making what we believe is the best choice.
Yeah, I mean, I think our goal as a community is just, you know, when we can grow in numbers with people, and always just keep RP fresh with always, you know, having new scenes, new creative things. Always kind of trying to try something new, experiment, so that we don't, you know, just sit in one place all the time. So whether it's new vehicles, new, you know, new menus, new things to expand our roleplay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know, growth is definitely a thing, but I know we all have a common sense of, or a common ideal of, you know, we don't want to grow beyond our means. We don't want to grow too quickly, and we're really focused on quality over quantity. And I think we've really hit the mark with that, and found a balance of, you know, growing the community, but also making sure that we maintain the quality that we've enjoyed for so long. And that's why we have things like, you know, department membership caps and stuff like that, because, you know, we don't need to keep expanding every single one and bringing in, you know, hundreds of members and stuff. Like we very much like the quality aspect of it, and I think having some of those limitations really helps us, you know, keep that. So I think I said that was a goal. Yeah, no, just the constant improvements to our quality, I think, is one of our main goals, definitely.
Mm-hmm. There's just a question rolling in so quickly. We already answered what we would switch to if we could. Yeah, I can't really. Think of any more questions we may not have answered. What do we think has improved since older SAF? A lot of things. That's just something that comes with time. It's just improving the community. Yeah, someone wants Ocean to put his hair back up.
Wow. Okay. I see how it is.
Put it
Damn.
back in a ponytail.
Fine.
Yeah. And then someone else, can we show off the 2020 taco
Ooh.
outside?
Someone asked, "What were your lowest points while being in a point of power?" As in, like, since we've been CMs, and have
Stop,
any of
don't
you
do this to me.
considered leaving or quitting? That's a loaded question. If we want to answer it, I mean, I'll answer it.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, I think probably the hardest point was when I first got put into the CM position. I think when it was just Becky and myself, I think Campbell and Porter and Scooty, I believe. And when we got there and we had to, start rearranging things and try to save the community, that was one of the toughest points. Since I've been a CM, I have not ever considered leaving. I did think of the possibility when I went to college. I didn't know how that would work for me, and so I did keep it in my mind as something that would happen. I know Vandal just said when Les hired Vandal, but yeah, I considered it then, guys. I think everybody else did too. I'm just kidding, but yeah, I think that's how it is for me. Is I've always tried to be realistic about what's going on IRL, and so I did consider it around last August. I was trying to see how school was going to work out, and it worked out fine, and I was able to stay around. So, and I'm glad it was. Yeah.
Who wants to take the mic next?
I'll
you go
Ocean
for it.
if you want to go.
Well, I don't know. I think we all have times where, I mean, people need to understand that, running a community is, it's not very easy. It can be difficult and stressful because, we are managing a lot of people and a lot of departments and procedures. And it is almost like a part-time job. And it's it is something where, like, even if I'm at work, sometimes I'll handle things, that are going on, whatnot, have discussions and stuff, typical, department operations and stuff. And then, of course, when I come home, that's just something that I do also here. It does take up a part of everyone's free time here, to do that. And it's because we love it. But I know, there's times where I think we've all felt frustration and stuff and wanting to, to not have that stress and step down and stuff like that. But I think everyone goes through that when they run a community. But I think we all enjoy it enough that we're all still here. And yeah, I think it's normal. I mean, it's just like anyone else who has a job IRL where, they might get frustrated with it or something or whatever, and just, or want to change things. Even if it's not even that, it's just wanting to change things up and do something different. Sometimes it's just that, but yeah, I think we've all gone through that, but we're all still here and enjoying it. So
Yeah. I'd say a low point was definitely when I was a lot newer to being a CM, and some things happened, and new CMs came in, and it was just an entirely new group of people that I had never really led with before. So I think that was just a learning experience of getting to know each other's leadership styles and kind of understanding how each other worked. But once we kind of had that down, you know, then it was just another well-oiled machine going again. And I'd say like a point where I almost left was just in my personal life. I'm very, very busy. And so, you know, I was taking a long LOA because I was struggling to make patrols. And I got to a point where I was like debating leaving if I wanted to focus more on things going on in my personal life. But found a way to make things work. So I am still here.
Sorry, can I answer one? Just real quick, I'm sorry, Faze. I just saw one. Oh shit, would you ever consider adopting a Civ child, or did Bridget kill that idea? Yes, she did. Anyway, Faze, what's your lowest point? Speaking of low points.
Adopting a child. Well, I haven't been to CM for long. It's about 3 months, and in that time, a lowest point, I would not say so. Went through a lot, yes, a lot happened, but nothing that, you know, made me think otherwise. But have I thought of leaving? So far, no.
Liar.
Because the reason why I haven't thought of leaving is when I was captain in PD, I did leave for over the
Okay.
summer for graduation, another reason, but came back. But afterwards, no, not leaving anytime soon.
Who makes our cars in our server? That's a question we didn't answer. Wow, we didn't name our devs.
Well, for us,
Name.
yeah, for PD is any amount of devs. Sometimes we do buy packs out of well-known devs out there, Redneck, McGarrett, XBR. We buy their vehicle. We have it custom made by devs such as McCord Limited, Justin, Jake.
Jack.
Yes. Yeah.
State. Sorry, you done?
Yes. Sure.
Yeah, most of the state stuff right now is next stuff, but we're currently transitioning. We got some more stuff from him coming in, as well as McCord is currently working on vehicle.
I guess for fire, well, we're now, our fleet is pretty much all from 3 different vehicle developers. We have Redneck, who has made a lot of our fly cars, like the one outside there. We have Jack the Dev, that's made up part of our main Firematic fleet, which he's actually expanding on what he has made. And, you know, there might be some other ones that are either like swapped out or added, because there's a lot of new fire vehicles out there. And then also Red Saint is also another portion of our main Firematic fleet. So we're those are our 3 main developers. We have some other ones, like there was I'm drawing a blank here. I think that's everything. I think I forget who made our Bulldog. Actually, I'm actually disappointed in myself that I forgot that. But yeah, so mainly everything is just those 3, and then we have a couple miscellaneous things out there.
Do we have any more last minute questions? Who do we treat as the child of every department? Oh my gosh.
We just need an
The
adoption
child,
agency at this point.
The child of every department.
Mm-hmm.
Vandal.
Me.
Civ wise, there's so many civs. The child.
For me, I'll probably
we
say
have one.
Brandon.
my god.
Hey, he was my child first, and then I adopted him out to you. So
He's on loan right now.
he's on the loan.
And sometimes you gotta put a leash on him. He gets out.
He's being fostered.
Wait, who's the child of the CMs?
Me?
I was gonna say, do not say me.
No. If it's anything, it's me.
Yeah, server restarts in like 5 minutes.
Does it? Because I didn't see the
It's
alerts
off.
come off over the chat.
No, we're gonna have to manually do it today.
Okay.
Yeah, today's off.
You said Becky's 100% the child of the CM. No, I'm not. Literally a mom, but okay.
Les, do you like cheese balls?
Do I like cheese balls? I've had cheese balls forever. They're probably
Lux.
fire though.
Do you like salamanders?
I do not like salamanders, no. But apparently Bridget puts them on her pizza and wants me to try them.
Oh my god.
Mm. Rick. Oh my god, Silver.
I just saw my name go in chat like 6 times. Becky's the mom who tries to be too down with the kids.
Sure. Les is a cute. I'm the most handsome one up in the CM's office.
Love that.
Ask Les if he still likes worms. Old Jay Sanderson.
Yeah, good question. What
guess
is the
the
cost
pineapple's
of running
more-
SAF? Les, you want to answer?
Ooh.
I think we might maybe keep that one more personal, but there is definitely a cost associated with it for running the server and a lot of the other aspects that we maintain, to have good quality stuff and whatnot. So there is a cost associated with it, and we are very fortunate to be supported by our community, and the members that voluntarily donate towards the cost of it. So that's a really nice thing that they're able to help us out with that. So
Use code OCEAN for a discount on hosting.
that's with Modern Solutions. It's nothing to do.
Just saying, just
Hey,
saying.
hey.
I like how you're the one promoting that instead of me.
You're welcome. I got you.
Thank you. You're not getting a percentage, just letting you know.
I tried. And people are just asking about like applications. Yes, you have to apply, and departments open for short times, and typically are always announced on our social medias. So follow those if you'd like to keep up to date with whenever applications open. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, we'll do 5 more questions, and then fortunately we'll be wrapping this first episode up.
No, we don't currently have merch. Oh, someone asked, where does the money from donations go? I think that's a good question to actually answer.
The donations that are on this stream, obviously, they will go into an account and then they'll be pushed over into our finances, and we end up using that to pay for the server and different things like that.
What's a moment that's made each of you proudest to be in SAF?
Hmm.
Seeing this community bounce back from some of our lows. 100%.
Yeah, definitely. There's been points that went really low to where we had no idea how the future of the community was gonna go, but the community itself just got back up on knees, showed that it was strong enough to continue on, and we built it up. And the CMs at the time did a perfect job to continue it going and where it is today. I feel like that being there for that was proudest moment. And then
I think from
yeah, go ahead.
I think for me, probably one of my proudest ones was after the Kahoot event. Yeah, it's a very emotional night, but a lot of people who were in SAF were in my chat and stuff, and put kinds words in, and we talked about the history, and I talked about the people that meant a lot to me that were in SAF, and that was probably one of the moments that I look back on and now, and it was something special just to see the camaraderie and the family aspect and everything.
Wow, my price. I mean, the thing is, when you've been with the community for so long, it's really hard to pick like one thing. But I think just any scene where an entire department or multiple departments can come together and work really effectively in one scene and all walk away from it and just kind of like, pat each other on the back and like say, hey, good job. We all made it out of that, and we did our best with it. And really seeing people really get into that role play and really commit to it and just make it so nice and so cool is really what makes me proud. Is just the how far everyone goes to make really good quality role play.
Alright. Two more questions.
Waits for 2 questions. Oh, well, we have more community events like the 3-year anniversary happen in the future. 100%.
For sure.
I will plan another PUBG event pretty soon, actually.
Yeah, the 3-year community anniversary events, that will be something to do each year. But normally we're looking at doing other community events.
Do we have a fan Discord? No, we do not.
It was something that was thought about, having a like SAF moderated fan Discord, but ultimately I think we determined at the time that would just be one more thing we have to manage. And we were just like, let's pass on that.
Oh, someone asked, do you consider being a CM as a job or a hobby?
I mean, some days you feel like either.
Yeah. I think that for me, it's something that You know, I was from the time I joined the community, I was brought up and people guided me and helped me and put me into this position. And you know, at the end of the day, I think that we're here for a reason because we all have common goals and we want to make this community as best as we can. And so my thing is with that has always been, you know, I'm gonna put best foot forward and you know, there's times that it's not easy. It's the bottom line. Yeah, it's crazy because some days it's not the best. Other days it is. But that's part of it. That's leadership as a whole. It's not an easy thing. But yeah, some days it does feel like a job. It feels like we're working. As a funny joke, last night we finished the conversation. I said the CM office is closed. I was like, we're closed.
For the night.
We're done for the
Closed
night.
for
You
the
know,
night.
yeah. And so, but we made this choice voluntarily, and I think, you know, and we assume the responsibility of it. And if it gets to a point where I can no longer take on those responsibilities, then I'll step down and allow somebody who can to take over.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the best way I can word it is that I see this as a hobby, but with responsibilities to the community and the people in it.
Right.
I think that really sums up what it is.
SAF ever a public server?
Was it ever a public
At its
server?
inception?
No,
For
we
a
were
hot minute?
whitelisted.
Whitelisted.
Yeah. Actually, there was this one time that the whitelisting program broke, and we technically were a public server. Just nobody knew about it, but maybe 5 people figured it out and had joined patrols, and we're pulling over civilians, and we're like, wait, this is not a member of this community. Yeah, we've always been whitelisted since its inception, because nothing wrong with public servers, but we wanted to focus on quality and quality assurance, and to do so, that means we have to have people apply and train them up to our standards, and that's why we've never been public.
We definitely answered more than 5 questions.
Alrighty. Okay. You guys want to add on to anything for this podcast? You want to grab the guitar, Ocean?
Oh, I would gladly love to do that, actually. I didn't know if we were still going to do that or not, but I guess maybe we want some. I don't know if we want to go around for some final words. I guess mine would be just stay tuned for more of these podcasts. I think this has been a lot of fun. I think we'll definitely do more in the future, and probably, of different topics and styles. So
Mm-hmm. For sure. Con less.
Yeah. Like I say is, thank y'all for tuning in and watching, and live stream itself. Obviously, if you're future people watching the video once it's uploaded, we appreciate it. We hope y'all are here next time when we do this again. We've got some more ideas for this YouTube channel and how to utilize it, and so it's just kind of the first step. But yeah, I think this podcast is a great way for us to be able to get in touch with the community more and talk to y'all. So yeah.
Bedford?
Yeah, kind of want to thank everyone for coming out, and yeah, there'll definitely be more content on this channel. Hopefully in the near future, showcases, things of that nature, to kind of show off, more departments, and Ocean, and yeah, and if you're ever looking for more SAF content, I got a shameless plug. Our social medias are Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and this YouTube channel. They're all at SAF Roleplay, so check those out if you have the time. We have a lot of really cool photos on our Instagram, and our Twitter has a lot of updates. So yeah.
Alright. Hit the guitar, Ocean.
all right, it's a very short song. It's only 2 minutes long, so feel free to end it whenever. But all right, here we go. I can spell guitar right. That would help.
Alright, thank you everyone for coming out here today to the first episode of the community broadcast for San Andreas Finest. To everyone who donated, sadly there's no alert system, but in the future when we do this, there should be. But to all who have, we appreciate it, so thank you. For any other future questions, please do go on our social media accounts, type in any comments in there, someone will get to you. So for you,